Welcome to the More Listings Mastermind, guys. My name is Robert Weichelt. I'm a certified success coach, and we meet every single week, every Wednesday. I call it Weichelt Wednesday. It's nice and easy. It kind of has that certain tone. Every Wednesday, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. So save the date. Every Wednesday, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. Join us live at morenowlistings.com. Let's get started. Who am I? I'm Robert Weichelt. I'm your host for the More Listings Mastermind. I've been serving buyers and sellers and agents since 1986. For those of you doing the math at home, that'll be 40 years this coming February 14th, 2026. That's a long time in the business. And the reason why I say that is because I bring a lot of tools, things I've learned over time, things that have worked for me, things that haven't worked for me. We've all been there, right? I've just been there a lot longer and I've failed a lot more than most. And I like to share what works and what doesn't work. I'm a broker, trainer, mentor. My mission is simple. I want to empower others to grow, win, and lead with purpose. We help agents. Our goal is to help agents take listings. Now, if you're saying, I want to take more buyer contracts, this is probably not the call for you unless you want to also take more listings. Okay, so we want to talk about now listings, people that want to sell today. Then we'll worry about the folks that want to sell tomorrow. We like to work with FSBOs, expireds, pre-foreclosures. The pre-foreclosures set us up for the future business, and that's the distress, the REO properties, and those are coming. I just received an REO yesterday, got the Marshall lockout, got the rekey. That market is starting to rear its ugly head. Pay attention to that. We help agents just like you, lead generation, listing mastery, agent development, building scalable systems to grow your business. It works when you're not there. That's what it's all about. Carl and I have been traveling in the United States in our RV, and most real estate agents can't wrap their head around that. I'm going to show you some tips and tools that we're doing to succeed at a very high level. So what I want you to do is put in the chat box, put in the comments, tell us where you're from, what city you're from. We're looking for agents all over the country in the REO space. So that's important because we want to make sure we reach out to the right agents and introduce them to the REO asset management companies because that market's coming. Another thing I would like to know is how many listings are you poised and positioned to take in 2025? How many listings will you take in 2025? And the last thing, do you want to take more listings? I want to offer you an opportunity to reach out to me. There's a QR code. Take a picture, join the, jump on a quick meeting. We'll take a look under the hood, find out what's going on in your business. Okay, enough of that. Let's get started with our program. I always like to start off with this quote. Prospecting is the oxygen of selling. Let me say it one more time. Prospecting is the oxygen of selling. Without it, you'll suffocate. That's powerful because our business, real estate is a contact sport. We need to be reaching out to more opportunities, buyers, sellers, investors, and of course, if you're building your team, agents. Now, here are the 5 habits that we need to write down. Write it down, take a piece of paper, take a screenshot, do whatever you need to do, but write these things down. 5 habits. Number 1, lead generation. No exceptions. You need to block out 90 minutes a day, every single day for focused prospecting. Here's a tip. Every time I prospect on the weekends, Saturday and Sunday, I'm amazed by how many people actually answer their phone. They're not getting hammered by every agent on the planet. Think about that when you're looking at this weekend, thinking, I've got a couple hour here. I'm going to start prospecting. Weekends are great. Number 2, track and measure your numbers. You must track and measure. What gets measured gets improved. So track and measure your numbers. Number 3, set appointments daily. A day without a seller or buyer appointment is a red flag in your business. Follow up like a pro. Number 4, 80% of conversions happen in the follow-up. The fortune is in the follow-up. And number 5, sharpen your skills. Role play, study scripts, watch top agent content. We've got great content here for you to go into. You can go to our YouTube channel. You can watch us on Spotify, but make sure you're doing all the things that you need to do. And I've got a quote for you. Do something today that your future self will thank you for. Think about that. Do something today that your future self will think about. I love that quote. It fires me up. Now, here's some numbers. I get this from Tom Ferry. He's one of the best coaches out there, in my opinion. I do a lot of research and I follow what he's doing. I've been watching the Ferries, Mike and Tom, for many, many years. And here's one thing that really sticks to mind. 78% of sellers list with the first agent who calls. These are expireds, guys. These are sellers that have already shown interest in selling their home. 78% of them list with the first agent who calls. So if you're making the calls, you're getting the listings. It works if you do. It's an awesome tool, and I want you guys to remember that when you're prospecting. You also, I talked about traveling the country in our RV, thinking, how in the hell are you taking listings being in Kentucky? I'm currently in Kentucky at our daughter's beautiful new home here in Richmond, Kentucky. Carla and I, as we're traveling in the United States in our RV, it was awesome opportunity for us to drive out with them. They're in the U-Haul, we're in the motorhome, dog and everything, and it's just one big caravan, 7-day trip to Kentucky. But my point is, do you have an efficient and effective business that you too can do that? Can you go on? When are we the busiest? We're the busiest when we're getting ready to go on vacation. It's like, oh my God, I'm getting ready to go to Hawaii tomorrow. All the phone starts blowing up. My phone is, if you have a system where you can just run it like no matter where you are, you're doing business, it's a great, effective way to get going. I'm telling you what, it is fantastic. So I'm telling you what, if you wanted more information on that, you let me know, because I'd be more than happy to show you how I do it. Are you driving massive traffic to your open houses? Guys, we had 884 people to this open house in particular, and the record's 1,224, 25, some crazy number. We're averaging between 200, 300, 400, depending on the property. We did a listing in Menifee, California. It was 106 in the shade. We had 38 groups to the doors. Most people think, well, that's nowhere near the average 200, 300. It was 106 degrees, and it was a 55 and up, and 38 groups came through the doors. So we called the other agents. 3 other agents had open houses that same weekend. We called them. How is your traffic? They had 0. So we're doing something right, driving traffic. Let that sink in for a minute. Are you calling the right sellers? My Plus Leads is where I get my FSBOs, my expireds, my pre-foreclosures. Carla will drop in the chat box. If you want to call the lowest hanging fruit on the seller tree, reach out to them. If you have a cash offers platform, a cash offer solution, this is the good one to get. Instant cash offers for your sellers. Now, I did a study, 72 of the last 72 listings I did, every single one of them got introduced to a cash offer. Guess how many went with a cash offer? 0, because they think they want a cash offer until they see that cash offer. But as long as they want to sell, we want to be able to give them the highest and best price in the shortest amount of time. And one last thing I want to mention is our 14-day home offers platform, transparent, competitive bidding. We are getting sellers the highest and best price absolutely every single time. If you want to know more about it, check the QR code. Let's take a look under the hood, find out what you're doing in your business. With that said, one last thing before we get started. If you're tracking and measuring your numbers, which you certainly should be, I don't care if you're doing it on a CRM or a cocktail napkin from happy hour, but track and measure your numbers. Super important. We can go into that. We go into that every Friday on our coaching call, and I'd be more than happy to drop some information about that. And last but definitely not least, are you tracking and measuring your success? Are you celebrating your wins? Big or small, we need to celebrate them all. So celebrate your wins. Look back at the week that was. Look back and go, yeah, I'm really proud at what I did. I made the calls. I made the contacts. I took the listings. I did the work. But if you look back and go, wow, I really didn't do what I thought I was going to do, and my bank account's reflecting that, my pipeline's reflecting that, that's what Wednesday is so perfect for. If anything else, it's like a midweek tweak. It's like, wait a second, I didn't work Monday or Tuesday on prospecting. Today's Wednesday. I have 2.5 more days to right the ship. Think about it. So with that said, if you have any questions, man, don't survive in real estate, thrive. I encourage you to reach out. Let's schedule the time. And enough of that stuff. Let's get into our program. We've got a great lineup today. I'm super excited. This young man, Tim Yates, the drummer, I tell you what, he is a fantastic human being. Him and I are starting a new project. I'm going to let Tim come in and talk a little bit about what we're doing, just a couple of minutes about what that is, and then we'll get right with our special guest. So, Tim, are you there, my friend?
I am here. I'm here. How's the weather back in Kentucky?
Oh my God, it's about I don't know, 1,000, something like that degrees. I think
Nice.
Josh and I are in that little heat wave that's going through
Yeah,
the
no doubt.
eastern side of America, and it's pretty brutal. But you know what? It is what it is. That's why God made pools, right?
Absolutely.
Hey, so
Absolutely.
Tim, tell us real quick. Let's tell the guests who's maybe have not met you. Who's Tim Yates?
So, as you know, I've had one foot in the real estate industry and one foot in the legal industry really for the past 20 years now. And as you know, estate planning is my bread and butter. I love estate planning. I love helping people protect everything that they've worked so hard for. And so, what I actually want to talk about really quick, because I want to talk about some numbers that a lot of real estate professionals aren't aware of, and they're really shocking numbers if you're not aware of these things. But numbers tell a story and numbers don't lie unless you try to make them lie, then you go to jail. But so here in California, a few things to consider is this, okay? Less than 12.7% of all homeowners have their homes in a trust, okay? Less than 12.7%. So if you think about that, if you look at your own database right now, let's say you have a database of 100 people, it's your SOI, right? Clients that you've worked with. There's 100 homeowners there. That means 87 out of the 100 do not have their homes in a trust. Okay, that's a extremely stressful number. If you flip that to the other way, you look at your farm. If you're farming a community of 200, 300 homes, again, only 12.7% of the entire farm have their homes in a trust. So a lot of times people will ask that question, well, why is that? I used to ask that question before I got into this. Why is the number so low? Because the demand is so huge. I mean, the real estate industry, I mean, the estate planning industry is a $200 billion a year industry, and it's still completely untapped. So I'm going to share with you why these numbers are the way they are. So first and foremost, it had everything to do with cost. Okay. So traditionally, when someone wanted to get an estate plan to protect their home and their assets, they had to go to an attorney, and that attorney could charge whatever they wanted to. There was no market competition. It was basically a very niche area of the law. People coming out of law school wanted to do glamorous things. Very few people wanted to do estate planning law because it sounds kind of boring and it's just more transactive based. And so you had a small number of people doing that. So thousands of dollars. So people would get that price quote and go to that attorney and say, oh, it'll be $5,000. And then a lot of times they would say, all right, I know I need it, but they would hold off on it for a while. I mean, it's the complex of, hey, I'm never going to die. I'm healthy, I'm young, I'm fine. Actually, the mortality rate last time I checked, Bobby, is 100%. So, you take that into consideration.
And
Okay.
that's a guaranteed number too, I think.
That is a guaranteed number. The other reason why, not just cost, is just the complexity of it. A lot of times, people again they get overwhelmed with the amount of paperwork that's a part of that process. So you have those two things that have fed into the realization that the numbers are so low. Plus, people just are misinformed. They don't understand what they actually need. Do I need a trust? Do I need a will? What's the difference? So on and so on. So I created a business model, as you know, that really solved both of those issues. And really, because of that, in the last 5 years, our firm has become one of the busiest firms in all of California. And so we're really proud of that. That just means we're helping more people. I don't want to look at the court calendar in all the different counties and see a backlog of probate cases. I want to see that completely changed, and we're on a mission to do that. So because of that, we want to expand our business model now. One of the things that you and I am excited to do is have those webinars. So we're going to present the business opportunity that I've created. And really what it is, it's a blending of the real estate industry with the estate planning industry, which is going to allow real estate professionals to offer estate planning services now to their clients. It's going to offer them to generate a whole new revenue stream. It's going to allow them to stand out in a crowded real estate market. The best part about this whole thing, as you know, is we've launched a training program, and it's a free training program. There's no cost. We're not selling you anything. I always tell people that, look, I'm not trying to sell you something while you're in the program. We're looking to expand our services. We want to help more people. And I'm one person. So I needed to duplicate myself and a team of others within my firm. So we're going to show agents how they can add an LDA designation to their signature line. A lot of agents, as you know, are familiar with the certified probate specialist designation that a lot of agents carry. So if you think about a certified probate specialist designation, Our designation just takes it a much step further. Our designation is going to allow people, again, to generate a new revenue stream and help more people. And that's something I'm super excited about. Last but not least, because I want to be respectful of everyone's time. As I mentioned, the cost to join the program is zero, and the commitment is minimal. It's one 60-minute Zoom meeting per month. The Zoom meeting is led by our wonderful training attorneys in my firm and myself. And it's not going to take away from your busy schedule. It's not going to take away from what you're doing right now with your business. This is a complete business add-on. It's going to take your business to another level. It's simple. It's a compliant, RESPA compliant way to add real value to your business and really build more long-term income for you and your family. All right. Boom. That's it.
You're the man. I appreciate it. You know what it's all about? I mean, working with attorneys has been a huge thing for me. Bankruptcy, foreclosure, probate attorneys, working with them because they're a great referral source. Sure, FSBOs expires pre-foreclosure, attorneys, investors, all great tools. Tim, I can't wait to share the new sessions you've got coming up. You've got some great webinars. We'll certainly share that. I know we're just kicking it off. Tim, thanks for being on today, brother. Stick around if you can. I know you're a busy guy. We've got a great lineup. Tim, thank you so much.
Appreciate it, my friend. Thank you.
Hey, and let's get right to it because I want to get to my special guest real quick. But let's always there's no good call without a good mortgage minute. I know my lender Richie has jumped on, going to give us a quick mortgage minute. Let's do a 60-second update. What's going on, Richie Sorensen?
And start the timer. So the Fed wrapped up their meeting today, and to no surprise, they didn't cut rates. But we did have two members vote against that or vote for rate cuts, which that's the first. We're really starting to see that some members dissent from the hold steady and talk about, yeah, maybe we should be cutting rates. So now they're talking, let's watch for September. Maybe September we're going to see those rate cuts. I know I sound like a broken record, but it's all kind of coming to fruition slowly. We're getting close to their 2% inflation target. So that's the good news. And I want to leave a little time here. We just rolled out our Hometown Hero Credit. This is all about giving back to our veterans who deserve it. There's a bunch of VA programs out there that offer credits, but there's nothing like this. Basically, PRMG and myself, I'm going to unveil the curtains for you guys. We're going to work for free for our veterans. The idea is this will blossom into other loans like FHA, conventional, USDA. But we're going to give back to our veterans, and we're going to make you guys, the agents, look good. We're going to be, because of Robert, you're getting this 2% credit, and you guys don't have to cut your commissions. We're super excited to roll this out. I'll post a landing page there. We can co-brand this with you guys, all about giving back to our veterans who pay a huge price for us. The end.
You know what? I tell you, thank you, Richie, for that mortgage minute. I'm telling you what, always great stuff. You did my son's loan. You did my daughter's loan. You've done a great job for me, and I appreciate you. Thank you so much, Richie.
Thank you, Robert.
Okay, this is I hope you guys are getting some good stuff because I tell you what, I sure am. And what's funny, I was talking to our special guest before we got started. We were in the green room. That's what we like to call behind stage. And we're talking, and sometimes I get so excited and so wrapped up, and I forget that I'm hosting it. So Richie, thank you. Tim Yates, thank you. Let's get started with our next guest. I think our next guest is going to see this post that I'm showing. I'm sharing my screen right now. It says, show up, especially when it's the last thing you want to do. And that's a quote that I took from our special guest from his Facebook profile.
Well, I stole it from someone else, but
you know what?
You.
I stole it from you, and I saw that, and I go, I'm stealing that, but I'm going to steal it from the person I'm going to introduce to. So I want to introduce a good buddy of mine, Josh Schoenly. I tell you what, we've been in the coaching trenches for some time. We're in this, just delighted to be working side by side in many cases. So let's just dive right into it, Josh. Let's tell the audience, who's Josh Schoenly?
Wow, what a great question. So real 60 seconds, which by the way, Richie, that was great. The end, it had me cracking up at the end of the
just making sure everyone knew.
Yeah, I love it. So I've been in the industry since the mid 2000s. I got licensed in 07. Was rookie of the year in my little brokerage. My first year sold number one in volume. I'm sorry, in units. My second year. But what I realized pretty quickly, what I was most passionate about was the marketing side, client acquisition, really funnels before funnels was a thing. Like we didn't talk about funnels back in 2008, 9, 10, but that's really what I was doing and what got me excited. So I moved out of production and more into coaching and training and info products and tech and so forth, and did that for 8, 9, 10 years, and for most of the 2010s, and just got to a point where I was itching to get back into production. And, that itch combined with the best business model that exists, not in real estate, period, at EXP, that I went back into production. And, a lot has happened since basically the end of 2019, 2020, since I went back into production. But, I get to come on stuff like this and work with folks like Robert. I don't know if Tim can call him Bobby. I don't know if I'm allowed to call him Bobby, but that was great. So I get to do fun stuff like this, and what most excites me is I get to share what's working for me. So I do a mastermind every Wednesday as well, a little earlier in the day, and all I do is share like what I'm testing, what I'm doing, who I'm learning from, what's working for me. And so today's topic is not something that is theory-based in any way, shape, or form. In fact, I have 4 appointments tomorrow. 3 of them are with these very leads. I had 3 appointments yesterday. 2 of them were with these very leads. And, as much as I would like to have 3 or 4 appointments a day, it's not every day that happens, but, I'm getting more and more traction since I've started to work these leads in the springtime. Now, I've worked them in the past, and one of the reasons I came back to them is the realization, like, that stuff was working. Why did I ever stop doing it? And there's usually never a good answer. Oh, I got bored. I got distracted. I got whatever. So what I thought I would do is I'll share. I'm going to share a couple of things. I'm going to share why I think this is a good lead source and a lead source you might consider. I'm going to share some slides that very transparently I had Manus AI put together for me as to, real data other than the fact that it's working for me. And then I will share where I'm getting them from and how I'm converting them from, a lead that I'm paying for into an actual appointment and listing. So, and just for context, since I've started paying for these leads in, I think it was mid-April, I have taken and sold. I've taken 2 that I've listed and sold. I have 2 more that are listed, and at just this week already, I have 3 more in the pipeline where it's just a matter of, the one's relocating to be closer to family. She's older and she wants to be closer to her daughter. So it's just some timing stuff. But I just almost every day it's reinforcing that these are great people to be building your business around. So before I share my screen, Robert, I'm going to pick your brain for a minute.
Yeah.
Why do you like FSBOs, expireds, and pre-foreclosures as a target audience to take listings?
First, I like FSBOs because they have their hands up. They're telling everyone they want to sell their home. So why not go to somebody that tells me they want to sell their home before I go to somebody that maybe wants to sell their home? Number one. Yep. Number 2, expireds. I love expireds because they've been on the market for 6 months oftentimes. But the reason why they didn't sell, Josh, is because the price was too high. So they shown the motivation. They just weren't given the opportunity to do it correctly. That's why I love expireds. And the final is pre-foreclosures. I like them because you know what? It makes me feel good. If I can help somebody keep their home, awesome. Many times they can't. And who are they going to come to after we've already done that work, trying to help them keep their home? They're going to come to me. That's why I like those three sellers.
Don't disagree at all. I have a listing that is a pre-foreclosure. I closed and expired last week, and I have 2 FSBOs in the pipeline. So I could not agree more. Now, the other side. What, if you had to say, what is the number one flaw or drawback when it comes to those lead sources?
Getting the sellers to come to reality land is always important, especially with the FSBOs and the expireds for that matter, because the expireds, the reason why they're expired is because they dug their heels in on a price. So I would say price is the first thing we talk about. And that's what we do in our Zoom listings is the first 3 to 5 minutes, we talk about price. And if we don't agree in the realm of reality, the conversation ends.
What about competition?
That doesn't bother me.
Okay. This doesn't bother you. You're a seasoned professional. Where I was hoping you might go, which you didn't, which is totally fine, because we didn't script this at all, is those same reasons that make them a great lead source can also make it difficult if you don't have something very unique and you're not incredibly consistent and persistent and you don't have the time block. Now, you should be doing that stuff anyway, but my point is, where I was trying to go with that is a lot of the same reasons that make these great leads, that I'm not competing against every other person in my market who's getting the same expired list every morning or at the end of every month. I'm not competing against every other agent who, and we've got a lot of desperate, hungry agents who are reaching out to FSBOs the minute they hit. And once again, I'm not against that at all. Like I said, I'm working those audiences as well. I've just found that this, for me, is another great pillar that has just been a wonderful way to get more listings and do so with, at least in most cases, less competition, more of a blue ocean, let's say, than a red ocean with when it comes to some of those other audiences. Again, I'm not suggesting you should stop prospecting those. That's not the point. The point is, if you're having success and you want more opportunities, this is probably a good place for you to at least explore. Okay. Now, this is the presentation that I very transparently had Manus, which is my favorite AI platform right now, help me build out 6 compelling reasons to invest into motivated seller leads here in 2025. You can unlock higher conversions, faster closings, and overcome some of the challenges of today's market. I'm going to go very quickly through this, or at least I'm going to try to. Here we go. So I think we can agree there's some turmoil in the market. It seems like it seems like we're going to have fewer units sold this year than last year, and last year was like a 30-year low, right? And yet, transactions are still happening and things are, still happening. But, regardless, there are some things not working in our favor, right? We don't have a tailwind behind us right here. We don't have super low rates. We don't have, the things that were the perfect storm in 2021, 22, 23. Here's for me what I'm finding to be some of the most compelling reasons why I'm working these leads, I'm paying for these leads, and I'm having success with these leads. Generally speaking, the conversion rate on them is a lot higher than traditional prospecting. Okay. And these numbers, I don't know where it got them from, but I can tell you that they're not that far off, especially the 10 to 15% conversion rate. That's what I'm getting right now. So I'm actually closer to 20% conversion to listing, but it's also, I'm only 3 months in, right? And this is a long sales cycle game, and that number is just going to climb over time because I'm going to follow up with them until they list or whatever. I buy or die. I don't know what list or desist. I'm trying to come up with a rhyme for that. But point is that number will climb over time. Okay. And it certainly beats the traditional cold calling. Now, if you're reaching out to FSBOs and expireds and pre-foreclosures who, need your help and at least 2 out of 3 of those are publicly announcing I'm selling, you're going to have a little bit better than traditional cold calling. But regardless, here's a big one. I have had several of these leads that I have listed in a matter of days, meaning first contact, we got them on the market. So the conversion cycle of that is not just higher conversions, it's the time frame of the conversions in many cases is a lot faster. I'll juxtapose that against a listing that we just went pending on 2 weeks ago. We got absolutely crushed on the appraisal. This is completely unrelated, but like absolutely crushed on the appraisal. But I was able to keep it together, and we're going to settle August 12th. those folks I had been working, they had been in my database since 2022. I had been working with them, meaning like had met them in person in January. Like we didn't get them on the market until July, right? Some of these I've had like the first one that I sold of these leads since I started investing in them again. And I want to reiterate, I've done this in the past, but I've just had the realization like, why am I not doing this now? And started again this spring in April. But the very first one that I listed and sold, like from the time they were a lead to the time we were on the market was the same week. He came in on a Tuesday. We were live on the market on Friday. We were under contract early the next week, right? So like it can happen fast. It's not a guarantee that that will happen for you, the first lead that comes in, but it can happen, okay? And obviously, the faster closings you have, the faster you can turn and sort of cycle through for more opportunities. You know what? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get with Robert. I'm going to get him these slides. I don't like slide presentations. I just like to get into the nuts and bolts. So I mean, we can go through this, but I think everybody would agree. Let's just get into the good stuff. Where am I getting them? And then how am I getting into conversation and converting them? Okay. So here are the places that I'm currently buying leads from. And what I'm further, I'm going to take a side. This is working so well for me. I've actually hired an agency to be generating them for myself, completely exclusively. And so I'm using these sources, and I'll continue to use them because they're working, right? Like when something's working, don't turn it off. I'm talking to myself because I still don't listen to myself all the time, like constantly. I have to like, why did I stop doing that? That was working. Anyway, these are the 4 that I am currently getting leads from right now. And I'll share this document. I'll drop it in the chat for those of you who are here live. But I want to break down some important information and considerations with these lead sources, and then get into the fun part. Like, what do we do with these to turn them into listings? Okay. So number 1 is motivatedsellers.com. When I started buying these leads, working with these lead providers in April, this was the first one that I went back to, and I would have to log into my account, which I'm not going to do here because it'll have sensitive information, and it could mean that that YouTube blocks it and whatever else. But I think the third lead, maybe the second lead, was a listing. Like, again, no guarantees, no promises, but like it's very possible. Okay, you can't say that about most lead sources, or at least most like cold paid lead sources. Okay. The links in here, very transparently, the links in here are affiliate links. And some of them give me credits if you sign up. Some of them, I don't know, there's some kind of referral payout policy, but I want to reiterate, I wouldn't recommend these if I wasn't using them and they weren't working for me. So, and you can certainly go right to the source because I'm giving you who these are coming from. So here's what I like about motivatedsellers.com. They're exclusive. So if you get the lead, they're not selling them to 5 other people. Now, that does not mean that same person hasn't gone to multiple places and requested a cash offer, right? But it just means that they're not selling them to multiple people, okay? You bid by county, and it will vary greatly by county. So if you're in a county where the average home price is very high, or there's a lot of competition from real estate investors or real estate agents, you're going to have a higher bid than if you're not. Now, a little hack for this. This is a really cool hack. In that scenario, you can pause your account until late in the month, and if there is a lot of competition, a lot of your competition will have run out of budget for the month, and you can swoop up some cheap leads by just coming in, setting a low budget for the last 8, 9, 10 days of the month, and that if the number is really high or you're on a limited budget, that's a little hack. It requires a little bit more like management and maintenance, but it could be worth it for you. Okay. Here's all of these have a refund policy. So that's another big benefit or something that I like a lot about these programs. Motivated Sellers has a very simple policy, and it's very easy to dispute the lead and get a credit back for leads that are listed, or their mobile homes, or the contact information is no good, or they completely refute the fact that, like, they're not at all interested in selling. There's a whole bunch of reasons that qualify for a refund. Now you have to be on top of these leads so that you can make sure that you request within the refund window. But if you're paying for these leads, I would hope that you'd be on top of them, and you'd be reaching out and doing everything you can to get a conversation and then an in-person appointment. Okay. So that's number one, motivatedsellers.com. It's great. I have nothing but good things to say about that. By the way, all of these, it's very easy to integrate with whatever you're using CRM-wise. If you're using Bold Trail, it's easy. That's what I'm using. That all the leads go right into there. All of them, a smart campaign fires off, and I automatically send a direct mail campaign to them. Okay. If you're using something else, generally speaking, it's very easy. They have API keys. They have Zapier set up. Like, it's very easy to get these leads where you need them to go. Number two, fasthomeofferleads.com. Also exclusive. Same thing. Bidding varies by county. There is a refund policy. I would reach out to, this is an affiliate link here. I would reach out to Mike, and, if you have questions and so forth. For me, the lead flow from Fast Home Offer leads has been, like, the number of leads I've gotten has been lower, but the quality has been incredible. I've literally talked to every one of them. Every one of them. Like, they're legit. ZBuyer, okay? ZBuyer seller leads. This is a volume play. These leads, of the 4 on this list, these are the lowest quality, but they're also by far the cheapest. So for me, it's just like I'm diversifying my portfolio is how I look at it. And I've gotten some good ones in there, but I get a lot that are like, oh, I didn't really want an offer. I hit a button or whatever. Like, they're just, the motivation is not at the same level of the other 3 that I have on here. But once again, the cost is lower. They still have their refund policy is a lead replacement. So if you get a bad lead, they'll replace it. And the bidding varies by county, just like all of these. But I think ZBuyer, I don't know. My cost per lead with ZBuyer is a fraction of the other ones. Okay, and also, it just means that I got to work through more of them to find the good ones, and I'm happy to do that. In fact, I'm really close. I'm really close on one that's going to be a really good one that came from ZBuyer. It's going to be, it's a rough one that I'm going to make money on the initial sale, and I'm confident I'm going to get the listing on the back end once we fix it up and resell it. It's going to be a nice multiple commission check transaction. The last one, Compass Data Source, is when you go to their website, you'd think, is this real? Is this this seems a little shady. I don't know what's going on here. But it is. He's legit. It's just that, in fact, here's what it is. He's so good that he doesn't really care about what his public-facing marketing looks like, because he mostly gets business by referral. So his website is not great looking, but the leads are good. I'm working several from Compass right now, and in fact, actually, I'm sorry, I co-listed one with a local partner of mine last week that came from Compass. And they also have a return policy. The note here is, again, that I may get credits or affiliate payments if you use any of those links. I think this would be fun. I've got a little case study here it was a fun text conversation, so I want to share it. And I hope it encourages you that, no doesn't always mean no. Now, in this case, okay, don't don't take it to the, I'm saying, like, when you have a motivated seller specifically, sometimes you gotta open up, you gotta peel back the onion a little bit. You gotta get creative. So this is a lead, and I think I have to do it this way. Yeah. It's in reverse order, because that's just the way Bold Trail does it. Like, you got to scroll down to the bottom and scroll up, basically. So this is a lead that came in. It was actually a Sunday morning, and I was just kind of chilling. And it actually, the lead came in Sunday or Saturday night, but smart campaigns don't fire. Like, my smart campaigns fire at 9 a.m. Eastern. So if they come in overnight. So this fires at 9:01. Hey, so-and-so, it's Josh, reaching out because we saw you requested an offer online for your property at street address. Is that correct? Which, by the way, that's a great opening text, email, voicemail, and if you get them on the line. And so when I call them, if they don't answer, my voicemail script is, hey, Bobby, it's Josh. Just got a request for cash offer options for your property at blank address. Is that correct? Also, I have a question or two for you. When you have a minute, please give me a buzz or shoot me a text. Bang. That's it. If they answer, hey, Bobby, it's Josh. Yeah. Well, it looks like you requested a cash offer for your property at 624 Delville. Is that right? And then just let them talk. And some of them will tell you their life story without you asking any other questions. And some of them you got to dig a little bit. Anyway, I sent that. He says, yes. I said he. It says Vera, but I've been in the house. It's he. So I don't know. I'm not judging. Got it. Do you have time for a quick chat, or would you prefer text? Now, normally on a Sunday morning, I wouldn't actually, this is what prompted this. Normally, I would just ask, do you have time for a quick chat? But it was Sunday morning. I didn't actually want to talk to him on the phone. So I put in, or would you prefer text? And hoping that they said, yeah, I prefer text, because I didn't want to sneak off and be judged by my wife for having a conversation with a seller at 9:24 on a Sunday morning. That's the God's honest truth. Okay, so prefer text, please. Got it, no problem. Can you confirm how many beds and bath? I see some conflicting info online, which I did. I looked it up in two different places, and one said 3, one said 5. It was just confusing. And so he said 5, 2 baths, got you just under 5 acres. Yes. And so I use iList, and I popped it in there, got some preliminary offers, and shot them over. So I said, got it. The initial offers are ranging from blank to blank, but I think we can get more for you, because I did. Now, I did before I saw the house. Whew. I left with fleas. I'll just leave it at that. Anyway, I think we can get more for you. We just need to pop by for a quick tour to get the very best numbers for you. I said for you twice there, but whatever. I'll be in the area Tuesday afternoon. Any chance that would work? Should only take 10 to 15 minutes. By the way, if you're not doing this, if you only got this from today's call, anytime you have an appointment of any kind, use that as an excuse to reach out to homeowners nearby that appointment to try and get more of them. It could be coffee with your buddy at the Starbucks. That's an appointment. Hey, I'll be in the neighborhood. Is there any chance I could pop by for a quick tour? I've got a private client that'd be ready, willing, and able to make an offer. Find every way possible to turn one appointment into 3, 4, or 5 anytime around any type of appointment. If it's a preview of a FSBO, if it's an actual listing appointment, if it's, you're taking a buyer to check out a property, try and be efficient with and leverage your time. Anyway, he said, no, thank you. So I'm like, okay, what do I do now? I could just be like, okay, have a good day. But I said, and notice it took me a couple of minutes, because I was like, what should I do here? How do I keep this going? Do you have a number in mind you're looking for? Or is it that you're just curious at this point? Closer to 320 is what I'm looking for. Yep, that makes sense. I think that's definitely doable with what we call our 7-day stress-free sales system. Would it be okay if I email you more info in a bit? No, thank you. I can't email him? All right, sorry. Confused, honestly. So you wouldn't sell it for 325 or more? I would, but it's not stress-free. It needs repairs. Now, this was incredibly enlightening for me and a reminder that just because we understand the words that we say doesn't mean the person on the other end understands. What I was telling him is that it would be stress-free for him. He interpreted it as he needed to make it so that it was stress-free for the buyer or something like that. So I should have said something more like as is or, something. But this was very enlightening for me. So I said, gotcha, what kind of repairs? Pool needs a new liner. Bedroom needs carpet pulled up. Closet needs drywall. Minor repairs needed here and there. By the way, I saw the house. This is the undersell of the century. I mean, the thing should be torn down, not these repairs, regardless. And you'd prefer to sell it as is? Mm-hmm. That's the first I've ever received mm-hmm in text. Anyway, so I decided at this point, which, by the way, this is one of my best conversion strategies, and like model it in every way possible, is personal video messages. I use Loom. Use whatever you want. Dub, bomb, doesn't matter. I use Loom because for me, it's the least amount of it's like the easiest thing for me to get it out and about. Like, I've used them all. I've used bomb, I've used Dub, I've used Loom. Just for me, it's the easiest, fastest. So I sent him a personal Loom video. Honestly, I don't even remember what it is, but if you open the doc, you can see what I said. And 20 minutes later, he said, "What time Tuesday?" Right? So it went from no thanks, blah, blah, blah. And I wish I hadn't gotten the appointment, but I did. And I wouldn't have any way of knowing that because the guy had bought it like 2 years ago, and it was really nice when he bought it. And it was a complete disaster when I got there. Anyway, the reason for sharing that is, you got to be creative in your answers, find ways to continue conversations, and also understand that, like, I might not have gotten that then, but I'm not, unless he unsubscribes or says never contact me again, I'm going to keep following up with him until I do. Because I wouldn't have known what it looked like without seeing it in person. I just wouldn't have been able to find out that information. So that's an example, but here's the automated process that I follow. So number one, I send them a direct mail campaign. So not just one piece of direct mail. I send 3 pieces over a 20-day window. And what I've been doing, which I need to get a better hold on, is I also send, especially these motivated seller cash offer request leads, after the initial campaign, 1 piece of direct mail a month. So it might be a postcard, it might be a letter, it might be a note card. But these examples here are pretty simple and straightforward and direct. Would you consider selling your home at 420 Mohawk Road to an out-of-state private client of ours? Who's the out-of-state private client? Well, it could be QuickBuy or it could be Zoom Casa. Doesn't matter to me. I don't care. Right? But that's who I'm referring to when I'm saying this. It's not bait and switch. It's not, it's not anything, because I know, like, I already have a preliminary offer for it from them. That's a letter that we send. Here's a postcard, which, by the way, regardless of lead type, this postcard absolutely crushes. It's their property on the full front of the postcard with this text, and we have 2 variations of the copy on it, but it absolutely crushes. Because it's their property. Like, it's a pattern interrupt. And the other reason it crushes is nobody's direct mail anymore. I've literally, since Saturday, I've had like 4 or 5 pieces of mail in my mailbox. Total. 3 of them, stupid credit card offers, and like 1 or 2 medical bills, like for our kids' like appointment or whatever. Like, that's it. Nobody's using direct mail. So, like, why not be be somewhere that everybody else isn't? Last one. I think this will open. This is working really well to lots of different audiences, even cold audience. I think this is a great one for pre-foreclosures. It's a note card. It looks like a wedding invitation. Okay. It gets opened. Okay. It doesn't look like the rest of the direct mail they're getting. It doesn't look like, the bill collectors or anything like that. They offer very simple and straightforward. Would you consider selling your house at street address to a private client of mine? If yes, please call or text this number. You can also scan the QR code below for an instant market analysis report I prepared for your property. I think we actually changed the PS to that to be around, I think now we're saying to instantly review multiple cash offer options, I think is what we're saying, something like that. And I can dig that up depending on how much time we have. That's the direct mail campaign. But that obviously takes time for that to get out. And in the meantime, if I've gotten an appointment and stuff like that, I'm going to take them off of that, obviously. I'm not going to send them direct mail if I've already had an appointment, unless I forget, which does happen. Here is the smart campaign. I literally just screenshot from KB Core. So over 10 days, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 touches. And quite honestly, I do more than that because I will call them through my smart number through KV Core. I will call them directly on my cell phone, and I will call them through another phone setup that I have through a Go High Level account. Because if I get them on the phone, I'm getting an appointment just about every time, right? So like in that first 24 hours, I'm going to be all over them. And then I'm going to use or rely more on automation over time and use their behavior to dictate if I call them again. Meaning, if they scan a QR code on direct mail that I sent, well, I'm going to try and call them again, right? Because they've taken another action that indicates, maybe it's the right time. Or even if I see that they've opened an email, certainly if they replied to a text, right? So I'm very aggressive with them up front, and then I rely on technology and direct mail on the back. And then what I'm finding is the more seasoned they become, when I send out a little text, one of my text scripts, I get appointments or replies at minimum just about every time. For those of you using Bold Trail and you want to do this, or you just want to add this, this is the smart code. For those listening only, you'll have to hit up Robert for the document, so you can get the QR code for those audio only listeners. And this is a breakdown of the different things. And the way I do it is I want to check for a refund right away. Because you'll get leads that are listed. You'll get leads that are mobile homes. And if it qualifies for a refund, I am requesting it. And still, I'm not going to delete them from Bold Trail unless I really need to. Meaning, like, I'll sell a mobile home in my market. I don't care. But it's part of their refund policy. They'll refund me if it's a mobile home. I'm good. I'll get the refund. I still got the contact info. So be it. So I've got all the emails and the text, etc. in here. And then what do I do? So here's what I do basically every month after month 1, let's say, or after those first 10 days. And this is what I do. This isn't just with cash offer leads. This is basically anybody that I've got an address for and have had some indication at some point that they were looking at their home value, or they requested a home valuation, or they requested cash offers, whatever. I do two things. I'm human, right? So most months I do these two things. I will send them an updated home value sequence. So I send them an email for them to check out their value. I send them a bump text to tell them to go check out their value that I just emailed them. And then I will follow up with the ones that checked out their value to see, what has you curious about your value. And then about 2 weeks off of that, right? Because I try to break it up. I don't want to be too aggressive, right? I don't want to let people fall through the cracks, but I don't want to push people away. But about 2 weeks apart from that, I'll do more of a direct offer, similar to this one. I just call it open to offers. So this is a text script. This script works great with expireds, especially older expireds. But hey, James, curious if there's any chance you'd be open to entertaining offers on your property at street address. Here's my very fancy variation for expireds. I put the word still in because at some point they were open to entertaining offers, right? Otherwise they wouldn't have had it on the market. So, hey, Tim, curious or just curious if there's any chance you'd still be open to entertaining offers on your property at street address. What questions, comments, thoughts, ideas? What did I leave out? What did I talk too fast over top of?
Well, you know what? You crushed it, dude. I tell you what, I've got a lot of really, really amazing notes here. Cash offers. I think that's really one thing I want to make sure that the listeners don't lose sight of. The cash offers, that gets the phone conversation started. When you get a seller that thinks they want a cash offer, oftentimes they don't realize it until they see the cash offer that they don't want a cash offer. But that gets the conversation started. That's why it's so important. You mentioned to use iList. I can tell you this. Carla put it in the chat box, the iList link. Check it out. Check out the 14-day free trial. It is killer. They have landing pages. They have everything you need, scripts. But check it out because I did a study, Josh. I did a 72 listing study. I introduced the cash offer to 72 sellers, and not one of them went with the cash offer, but most of them wanted the highest and best price. So we ended up listing their home anyway. So at the end of the day, that's what our goal is to list homes. So at the end of the day,
if nothing else, it's a wonderful thing to anchor what you really want anyway. Again,
absolutely.
If it is in their best interest, absolutely, you should lead them to that. But for most people, 95% at least, if not 97%, you selling it on the open market and helping them net the most possible is going to be what is in their best interest. And it's a wonderful juxtaposition. Like you're using that as an anchor point. And very simply, the way I present, either after I've met with them or if there's resistance and they want to see, is this real? And I do this with FSBOs and expireds too, it's 3 options. I'll give them usually a single close cash offer option. I'll give them a dual close cash offer option and what it would look like if we list it on the open market. And I just call it a 7-day stress-free home sale. And then they're choosing what works best for them, not choosing yes or no. Right? I think you got to be careful how many options you give them, because if you give them too many choices, it can create confusion, and a confused mind says no. But I've found for me, in most cases, 3 or at most 4, depending on their scenario, like what their situation is. That's what's worked best to get people to the end result. And I don't know that I've specifically tracked 74 exactly, but what I can say with certainty is the cash offer options available that's integrated into iList has absolutely gotten me like a ton more conversations, and none of the clients that I've helped in the last year and a half, 2 years actually went that route. Now, some of them, we were close. We had the docs. We even did Zooms, etc. But like most of the time, it ends up like, hey, we can get you the money probably just as fast with about the same amount of hassle and a lot more of it.
Amen, brother. Amen. Well, I appreciate that. That was powerful. And yes, we'll go ahead and for those folks that are listening to this podcast, the podcast via Spotify, or we'll go ahead and get that those links in there. We'll share those with you. Josh, that was power. So go into the chat box, guys. Check out the iList cash offers platform. It's awesome. Josh, let's do this. Let's open it up for some
would love to.
Let's open it up for Q&A. Go ahead and unmute yourself, guys. let's go ahead and ask Josh anything about what we just went over today. Not all at once, though. Just real quick. Anything else?
I got a quick question.
Go ahead, James.
I got a quick question.
Yeah.
Hey, would you be willing to share some of the finances by what you're doing, like your monthly investment and your ROI at this point? Do you have any of those metrics or anything like that?
I should track. I need to track the ROI better. Let me roughly. Well,
yeah,
here's what I can tell you. I've paid for a somewhere around 115 since April of these leads. It's somewhere between 115 and 125. And in my market, the average cost, including that includes the Z buyer ones, which honestly half of those are Z buyer. And in my market, the cost per lead on those is, depending on the bidding, 30 to 40. But let me just reverse engineer this here. So 120, and my average over all of them is probably 125. So what is that? 120. Let's do 120 by 120, just for simple. Or I guess 120. 100. If we did 125 times 100, that's probably easier math. That's what, 12,500?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. So I've definitely gotten my money back and then some. So I've closed on one where I got paid 6 GCI. Average home price in my market is a lot lower than many of you. I'll just say that. So I got paid on one that was 6. I got paid and closed. Now that's gross commission, GCI. Another one was 12.5-ish. And I'm looking at my sold board over here. I'm missing one though. And then one other one. So right now I'm probably 2 to 1.
Cool.
So it's not like
that.
amazing, but I can see the path to 3, 4, 5, 10. In other words, the one I met with yesterday, which came in at the end of June, so she was a month old. It took her a month to let me in her house. We're selling her house. It's going to be 10,000 GCI. It'll sell in a weekend, guaranteed. Right? That's one. The one tomorrow, I will probably make between 10 and 15. The one tomorrow morning. There's one in the afternoon that I'll probably make between 12 and 15 also. He's 400,000. And then I have another one in the afternoon that's around 300,000. So I'm going to continue to, I'm going to do a better job of tracking it, and I'm going to do, and I'm happy to share any of that. But here's the thing that I think you'll experience very quickly is these people want to talk to you. They want help, right? And that's like, I'll happily pay more for that.
Sure, sure.
Especially because we're in a market where we like. I don't want to work with the maybes. I want to work with the have tos, not the want tos. I had a conversation with a past client. I helped them buy a new construction home in 2021, and they're trying to decide if they're going to sell and move out of the country for a couple of years and then move back. And I'm like trying to talk her out of it, because like the number that she wants that would make it worth it, like I'll do it and I'll do everything possible for it, but it's like, it's a long shot at best for her to get the number that she has in her mind that would make it worth it for her to actually sell and go on this little, out of country, whatever, for a couple of years.
Well, you know what I tell you, this is some great stuff. Any last questions before we let Josh get back to prospecting? All right, Josh, any closing remarks that we'd like to say to the
if anybody, I'm pretty easy to find just about everywhere. And I would encourage you, like, if you want to have a discussion about any of what I shared here, just shoot me a text or a DM, or schedule a time on my calendar. I'm an open book on all of this. I do my best anyway to come from a place of abundance. I think there's more than enough to go around, especially for those that are good and dedicated at what they do, which is, I mean, obviously, if you are here on a Wednesday afternoon, you're in that bucket. So I'd be more than happy to chat and help any way I can.
Well, you know what? This has been an absolute, just an awesome session, man. I'm so glad to have you on. I'd love to get you back a little Josh 2.0, get us caught up on your ROI and your success. And thank you so much. And everybody else that was on this call, thank you so much. Thanks for jumping on. Remember, every single Wednesday, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern, go to morenowlistings.com. And one last thing I'd like to say, remember, it works if you do. Have a great day. Josh, thank you. Tim, Richie, everybody, thanks for jumping on. This has been absolutely awesome. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great day.